All right, you've heard me and others talk a lot about a two-tiered system of justice in this country. Well, yesterday, a federal appeals court ruled that Washington, D.C. unequally penalized a pro-life group when enforcing its defacement ordinances. Now, this is a great victory. In the summer of 2020, many of you will remember there were thousands of protesters and rioters that literally flooded the streets of D.C., covering the surfaces everywhere with paint and all sorts of things, yet no one was arrested. But during the same summer, D.C. police did arrest two pro-life advocates for writing "Black Preborn Lives Matter" on the sidewalk with chalk. So they're just using chalk, which disappears next time it rains, and they were simply saying "Black Preborn Lives Matter." Well, this is a clear case of discrimination against the pro-life groups, and the courts agreed. Well, joining me now to discuss this is Dean Nelson. He is FRC's Senior Fellow for African American Affairs, as well as the chairman of the Frederick Douglass Foundation, which is one of the two groups that sued D.C. Dean, welcome back to the program. Always great to see you, my friend.
Man, it's great to be back. Thanks so much, and excited about Pray Vote Stand coming up too. But thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, you're going to be there, and we're looking forward to that. Listen, first of all, let me just say, Dean, congratulations. What a tremendous victory this was. Fill us in on anything that I missed. Fill in the gaps, please.
Well, just to give the background, as you stated, Jody, in 2020, there were all across the nation protests, for George Floyd. And we understand when America saw visibly a person, who went through what he went through, we understand that protest. But the reality is that, as you stated, they were flooded. Cities were flooded. I mean, there was, destruction that happened in cities. But when we, as an organization that wanted to make a public stand for the sanctity of life by simply painting or chalking "Black Preborn Lives Matter," we were met with the city of D.C. A whole host of force of officers were there. And when we dared to simply write on the sidewalk, there's few students that were with us, "Black Preborn Lives Matter" in front of that Planned Parenthood, the mayor's deputies that were there went to work, and they arrested two of the young people that were with us, and they did not allow us to paint. So we're grateful for the circuit court making its decision 3-0, saying, listen, you cannot discriminate against viewpoint and expression according to the First Amendment when one group has a viewpoint that's different from another group. So we were grateful with the decision, and it allows us to move forward with our case against Mayor Bowser in Washington, D.C.
Well, again, a great victory. And I tell you, watching the video of that whole thing, it is unthinkable that this type of thing happens in America. I mean, let's just face it. It's unbelievable that the right of free speech is being aggressively attacked by the left in this country. And unfortunately, so many people agree with it. But there are multiple elements involved in all this. Obviously, there's this free speech. But then there's this discrimination against pro-life groups compared to the rioters, as you mentioned. Tell us about these two young people who were arrested for writing a pro-life message. Who are they? Just give us a little bit of info on them.
Yeah. So as you may know, we joined together with Students for Life with this protest, and we were all there. I was there shouting at the police, but they didn't arrest me. They arrested the two young students that worked with Students for Life, and all they simply did was to begin to write in chalk. I mean, something that's done all throughout Washington, D.C. Every week when, young kids do hopscotch or whatever, they write on the sidewalk and with no penalty. But in this case, they were there meeting us to send these kids. They put them in the paddy wagon and sent them down. And we continued to stand and protest and did a march later on that day. And so grateful for ADF and their attorneys that helped to represent us in this important case.
Absolutely. So, yeah, let's wrap up with that. Where does this case go from here?
Yeah, so basically now this will allow us to move forward with our full case against Washington, D.C. and the mayor's office, us and Students for Life, to get justice, justice for not just for us, but for anybody who wants to stand for what they believe in and to communicate that in the public square, and making sure that the federal government, the state government, the city government cannot clamp down on individuals just because they disagree with the positions and the speech that we stand for.
Dean Nelson, you are a hero. Thank you so much for standing for these kids, for suing D.C., for standing in the gap. You know, one of the amazing things we all find out, and I know you know this well, when we stand up, we usually win. When we show up, we win.